Hello and welcome to another episode of Lucas and Mason No Hoops podcast. Today we are going to be exploring possible off-season destinations for Zach LaVine and exploring how his off-season can go. These videos will take the template of sometimes me doing my own videos, this one will be. My name is Mason. Lucas will be doing some of his own videos, and then some videos we will be presenting together. So this particular video I explored and researched different ways that Zach LaVine's offseason could go. So first thing that we have to understand is his contract details. Zach LaVine is currently signed 3 years, $129 million to the Chicago Bulls, but the part that really matters here for these trades that I've cooked up is the fact that he's making $43 million a year. Now, if you had to ask me, I don't think he's a $43 million a year player. I think he took a significant setback this year, which we'll explore more, I believe, on the next slide. And the Bulls coming out of a play-in, you really say the Bulls have been that mid-team for a couple years now, and why keep the team the same? I don't think they're going to go anywhere with LaVine, and I think it's very important that they trade him and see what they can get back, and they got to make a move at some point, and I believe the move is to trade Zach LaVine to another team and try and get as much back for him as you can. So what is LaVine's ideal role on a different team? I believe that his best role would be a possible third option. As you can see here, he averaged 19.5 points per game this past season, which is a significant downfall from 24.8 in 2022-2023. And of course, LaVine has the career high of 27.4 points per game in 2020-2021. The Bulls coming off of a play-in season. Zach LaVine only playing 25 games this season. Now, this team isn't going to go anywhere with him. I believe that LaVine is a great option as a third option on a championship team. I believe that there are many teams in the NBA where they have a great duo. They have great two superstars, but it falls off from there. And I believe Zach LaVine can be that third option that can give you 22 to 23 a night consistently, and he can make a championship team, or he can make a team a real championship contender. So some of the teams that could use him. Now we have researched teams. We have the Lakers, the Sixers, and the Kings. Now, of course, these teams are both researched, speculated about, and these are the teams that I've come up with. So the Lakers, of course, have the star duo of LeBron and Anthony Davis. Add Zach LaVine to the mix, where does that place the Lakers? And in this video, we're just going to explore where these teams would be put if they had him on their team. Next team would be the Sixers. Of course, the star duo of Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Adding Zach LaVine to the mix would be a great offensive backcourt for this Sixers team, with a nice big man to throw the lobs into the paint, get rebounds, score at will as well. And, of course, the Kings, we have De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Similarly, Sabonis can give you a triple-double a night. Fox coming off a 26.6 point per game season. Add Zach LaVine to the mix. Where's this Kings team going? I mean, they were the 3 seed just 2 years ago. An off-season this time, but it leaves you thinking, is anything possible here for this Kings team? You got Keegan Murray, who can shoot the lights out on any given night. He had a big 3 night this year. So these teams are very interesting trade destinations for Zach LaVine. So let's explore the first team here. We've got the Lakers. Now, the ideal trade that the Lakers would have, they'd be giving up D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent, of course, the former Heat player, beating my Celtics in the conference finals last year. The salary does check out. D'Angelo Russell's salary is $18.6 million a year. Gabe Vincent's making $11, and Hachimura's making $17. Now, these are the 3 players that the Lakers would have to give up in order to get LaVine. So they're giving up a lot of depth, and they're maybe left in a Suns type of situation. But, I mean, the more you think about it, that would be an amazing conference final if that were to be the case. I mean, Lakers, Suns, you have LeBron, AD, and LaVine versus Booker, KD, and Zach LaVine. Although in recent events, it looks like KD might be leaving the Suns. But the Lakers would be giving up these 3 players, and let's explore what their lineup would now look like. So the new look Lakers lineup, of course, the projected record done by the computer is 44-38, which would actually be worse than what they did, but I believe they have potential to be way better if they play their cards right. If they play their starters way more minutes, as we've seen Tom Thibodeau do, they were the 2 seed this year. I know that a lot of their players got hurt in the playoffs, and Julius Randle was out. They were missing a ton of players for that Game 7 against Indiana, but we've seen that these teams that play more minutes can succeed in the NBA. They just fell a little short when it mattered. So the new look Lakers lineup, trading away Russell and Vincent would leave them short at the point guard position. So it would lead Zach LaVine to play that point guard position. I believe that he could thrive at this position. Bringing the ball up the court, he has the option to take it himself to the rim, shoot it, pass it. He's got some options now. Shooting guard Austin Reeves, that doesn't change. I believe AR-15 has developed very nicely on this Lakers team, and he continues to improve each year, and I think that he works very well in this lineup. Of course, small forward LeBron James, amazing what he's doing at his age, amazing athleticism. I think he can still do wonders for this team. And of course, these trades are all assuming that no other players have left. And this is before Bronny gets drafted, so no way to really tell if he's going to leave. Power forward, or no way to really tell if he's going to leave for sure. The power forward position, I like Jared Vanderbilt for the defense here. Former Timberwolf, he was out for most of the playoffs, but with the trading of Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt will have to step in and be the defensive lockdown player, or one of them, in this starting lineup. And I think that defense can do wonders here for this Lakers lineup with the offense that LaVine and James have. And then let's get to our fifth player with that offense as well, Anthony Davis. Arguably the best player on the Lakers currently. Number 3, he's a defensive wall in the paint. It's very hard to score on him. A great defensive player for this lineup. That's a really good defensive front court. And Davis, of course, has the offense to go with it. I really think that this team can succeed, and I believe that they can make a push at maybe like a 5 or a 4 seed, which would be a significant improvement from the 7 that they got last year. And a 4 and a 5 seed in the West is very competitive. I mean, we just saw a 5 seed make the finals, so just anything but, I think, a 6 seed and under, and we'll see what happens. And on the bench, of course, assuming that no other players go away and they re-sign everybody, their bench would be Spencer Dinwiddie, Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, Christian Wood, and then Jackson Hayes. I like the front court of Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes just for their height, rebounding. And yeah, let's go on to the next team. Next up, we have the 76ers. Now, the 76ers are a very interesting team. They always fall short in the playoffs, normal first, second round exit. But with Zach LaVine, they finally make that conference finals and maybe even finals push. The ideal trade that the Sixers would be giving up, they'd be giving up Paul Reed, Robert Covington, and I'm not sure I would give up Zach LaVine for just that. So I believe the Sixers have to throw in 2 first-round picks in order to get Zach LaVine. Paul Reed is making $7.7 million a year, and Covington, if they sign and trade him, would be $17.5 million. Now, the Sixers, of course, coming up short very, very often in the playoffs, getting rid of 2 relatively, relatively meaningless. I don't want to say meaningless, but, getting rid of 2 players that might not get a lot of minutes in the playoffs. I believe, actually, Paul Reed probably did get a lot in this playoffs. But getting rid of these 2 players specifically, I'll say, and then getting Zach LaVine on your team, I believe could make a real push here at a deep playoff run. So the new look 76ers lineup, 45-37, which once again, I believe they can do way better. Their point guard, the speedy point guard, former most improved player, Tyrese Maxey. At shooting guard, that's where Zach LaVine would come in. Again, the scoring in that backcourt would be amazing. A small forward, Kelly Oubre, who I really like as a role player in this lineup. Power forward Nicholas Batum, he can shoot the lights out on any given night. He can play defense. He's a veteran. And then of course the center, the former MVP, Joel Embiid. Now, he's going to give you 30 a night. He's going to get you 10 rebounds a night. Not known for his passing, but he can be a wall in the paint. He's going to do his thing this season, and adding LaVine to this team will be extremely good. Now, their bench is going to be Cameron Payne, of course, experience as a sixth man with the Phoenix Suns. Then you got Kyle Lowry, who even has a ring. He's got the veteran experience. Buddy Hield, a shooter off the bench, and Mo Bamba, tight. He's got a song named after him. I mean, that bench, this team, I believe, is well constructed to go into the playoffs. And I think the only thing that's stopping this team is whether or not Nick Nurse can coach it. And I believe that this team is really good. They can really go places with the addition of Zach LaVine. And the third and final team is the Kings. Now, the ideal trade from the Kings, this is based off of research. They would be giving up Harrison Barnes. Of course, we have him winning the ring on the left. And Kevin Huerter. Now, once again, I didn't think that the Bulls would take that, so I gave them a 2026 first-round pick involved in this trade. Harrison Barnes is making $18 million a year, and Kevin Huerter is making $16.8, so the salary does check out, and that is what the trade for LaVine would be. So the new look Kings lineup, they're projected to go 42-40, but once again, we have to think they went to the 3 seed as the team without Zach LaVine, with a identical team almost. So the point guard, of course, will be De'Aaron Fox. He'll always remain the first option on this team as long as he's there. 26.6 points per game in this last season. I believe he's going to do his thing yet again. The new addition, shooting guard Zach LaVine. He can really make a difference on this team, and I believe that that's the conference finals push that the Kings can make. And if not, it's because the West is just going to be extremely competitive in this case. I think that the Kings looking at this lineup, I believe that Zach LaVine can make a difference. Small forward, 6th man of the year, Malik Monk. Now, everybody knows the 6th man of the year is better than some starters in the league, so what's to say Malik Monk can't have a role in the starting lineup? Get starting minutes, reward him for being 6th man of the year. Get him some starting minutes with Harrison Barnes leaving the team. And go to the number 4, Keegan Murray. There are not many it's a league of three-pointers, but Keegan Murray specifically at the power forward position can shoot, I believe, he made 9 plus threes. I don't remember the exact number. It might have been in the 10s. But Keegan Murray can shoot the lights out on any given night. And as a power forward, that is so important on this team. Kings are known for their offense. And let's go into the center, who can average a triple-double. I mean, right there under a Jokic-type play style, Domantas Sabonis. He's getting Jokic-type stats every single night, maybe take away 5 in each category almost. But Domantas Sabonis, I believe, is a leader on this team. And Fox and Sabonis have been running Sacramento for a little bit now, ever since Sabonis was traded for Halliburton. Now you add LaVine back to this team, and all of a sudden you have a Halliburton-type scorer, and the passing you get from Fox and Sabonis. So I believe that is a good outlook here for the Kings. Their bench would be looking like Davion Mitchell, Keon Ellis, Jones, Trey Lyles, and Alex Len. Now, the bench might be a little lackluster. Davion Mitchell leading the bench there, of course. Keon Ellis as well. But this team, I believe, can go places in the playoffs. If they make it there, or they will definitely make it there. And, let's go on. So, just to almost wrap things up, we're going to rank how good these teams are with LaVine. So, I believe the Sixers are the best team here with LaVine. They make the second round. A lot of years. Of course, they lost to the Celtics 2 years ago. They lose to the Celtics in the first round sometimes. But I believe the Sixers with LaVine can really make a push. There was some rumors that Paul George would go there. And that would have made them a scary team. I believe LaVine has the same potential. So Zach LaVine makes the Sixers here the best team. Now, second, I said the Lakers. Now, the Lakers are giving up a lot for Zach LaVine. They're giving up 3 players that could really improve their depth if they were to retain them. But going all in on a superstar like that is not new for teams. But I believe the Lakers could benefit either way. And then third, we have the Kings. Now, the Kings are coming off a play-in season, but I believe the Kings are in an unfortunate situation where they're in a very competitive conference. And I don't believe that they have the LeBron and Anthony Davis type leadership on their team to make that huge push. And I think the Kings, just because of the type of conference that they're in, do not have the firepower that they need to really beat teams like the 76ers and Lakers do. And of course, just to wrap things up, let's address this season for Zach LaVine. LaVine averaged 19.5 points per game in 25 games this season, a downgrade from 24.8 points per game the year before. And of course, the question is, can he still be effective? Now, he has some seasons, I believe 2 of his latest seasons, he averaged less in his first 25 points per game, or he averaged less points per game in his first 25 games than the number was at the end of the season. So, for instance, there might have been one season where he averaged 22 points per game in his first 25 games, and then he finished the season with 25 points per game. So, what's to say, LaVine's not doing this right now? Now, also, could have just been an offseason for LaVine. But let's take worst case scenario here. He averages 19.5 points per game as a third option. That's a really good third option. You had Kristaps Porzingis on the championship team. He was their third scoring option. I believe he averaged around 20 and a half points per game this season. So that's more than enough than what you need. And I believe that Zach LaVine can cause a somewhat championship team to really make that finals and conference finals push. Thank you all for watching. We're going to keep the videos churning out. We're going to keep working at it. We're going to keep coming up with topics. We have so many different ideas, especially with the draft coming up. We're going to make a video on the draft. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.